Some of the lifters in the gym have amazing strength and can lift a ton of weight. The issue though is that they can't move the weight very fast. And all you have to do to see this is look how slow the bar moves on a max lift. Whether you're the average lifter, and definitely if you're an athlete, having great power is an absolute cheat code. Unfortunately, most people have no idea how to build power. Hello, my name is Martin Rios. I have a Bachelor's of Science in Exercise Science, and because I'm here to make fitness great again, I'll be teaching you how to create your own power block to maximize power development. Also, if you want a free workout program and a free consultation call, sign up for a free trial of my Aesthetic Athlete Academy. If you're interested, be sure to click the link in the description to learn more. So some of you may be wondering, what is the difference between power and strength? Strength is essentially how much you can lift or how hard you can push or pull something. An obvious example, of course, is how much weight you can lift on an exercise. Power, on the other hand, has a speed component, and it's essentially how fast you can use your strength. If you can throw a ball really hard, sprint fast, or jump high, that means you have great power. Power is so important as the majority of sports skills happen too fast to produce maximal force. Think of a soccer player. They don't have 5 to 6 seconds to produce force. They have a few seconds, if that. Being able to produce force fast could be the difference between scoring a goal or preventing a goal if you're a defender. For the recreational lifter, training power is important because the average person rarely, if ever, trains power, so their power is subpar at best. And after power training, when you return to hypertrophy training, it will actually help you out a lot. The power you develop will help your lifts, you will have a stronger nervous system, and you will have fresh joints and tendons when you return. Taking a break from hypertrophy training could also be beneficial if you're experiencing a plateau. So whether you're an athlete or a recreational lifter, a power block can benefit you. You may be wondering, why am I recommending a power block and not recommending adding a few power exercises or power workouts into your current routine? This is because if you're an intermediate or advanced lifter, you will not respond well to the latter. Why? If you want long-term results and significant improvements, you don't want to try and develop a bunch of attributes at once. Doing this will not allow you to give an adaptation enough volume or intensity to make serious adaptations. The best way to develop a specific quality is to focus your training efforts on it. This is where the block system comes in, as we're dedicating a particular period of time to solely focus on power development. If you're past the beginner stage, this is what you want to do to develop your power. This leads perfectly into my next topic, which is who should do a power block. Power blocks should be done by intermediate or advanced lifters, and beginners would benefit way more from developing an athletic base first. Beginners respond really well, so just adding in a few plyometrics before your workout while taking volume into consideration is highly effective. Although I just said that intermediate and advanced lifters can do a power block, you're not quite off the hook yet. There are two prerequisites before doing a power block. The first one is having a high level of general endurance. If you're just a recreational lifter, this one isn't as important, but for an athlete, this is super important. And when I say high level of general endurance, if you're just a person who goes and plays soccer 3 times per week, you don't have a high level of general endurance. A high level of general endurance is built by people who actually take the time and do an endurance block. The reason why this is so important for athletes is because if you're explosive, it doesn't freaking matter if you can't sustain that for a long period of time. We've all seen that fighter that's super explosive in the first round, and then they end up losing in the second or third because they gas out. If you're a soccer or basketball player that's super powerful but you can't sustain it, you're gonna gas out after a couple sprints and you'll need a sub. So if you don't have a high level of general endurance, it'd be a better use of time to actually develop this before doing a power block. The next prerequisite is general strength. If you're unable to produce a high level of force, it doesn't really matter how fast you can produce it. If you don't have a good level of general strength, and you would see greater results by just improving your strength. When it comes to general strength, there are a lot of variables that make it difficult to give exact numbers, and it often depends on the individual and the sport you play. But here are some rough numbers I would consider as general strength. A squat of 1.5 to 2 times your body weight, a deadlift of 2 to 2.5 times your body weight, a bench press of 1.25 to 1.5 times your body weight, being able to do 8 to 12 clean reps of pull-ups with body weight, and an overhead press of 0.75 to 1 time your body weight. If you don't have these numbers or you're not close to these numbers, it doesn't really make sense to train power. Now on to the main event, the actual power block. I'll be showing you how to create a super simple general power block. I do want to emphasize that I will be giving you general volume numbers and a couple of my favorite techniques to train power, but there is no one size fits all program. Everybody's different, and if you're an athlete, you have specific needs. This power block will likely work better for recreational lifters as they don't have to balance this power block with skills training, and they just need general power and don't need a sport specific program. That's not to say that you won't benefit from this if you're an athlete, and if you select good exercises and balance this out with your training schedule, you'll see great results. This power block will be 8 weeks with 2 4-week blocks. First, we'll start off with block A. This block consists of higher resistance and lower speeds. For this block, you'll be doing 2 power workouts per week and 1 lighter workout where you'll be working on a weaker area of choice. First, workout 1, and this will be kinda like a strength workout but with a big twist. You will be relaxing after each rep. For this workout, you'll be doing 2 to 3 exercises, preferably 1 leg, 1 push, 1 pull, or you can do an upper lower day if you're doing 2 exercises. For each exercise, you'll be doing 1 to 5 reps, but you'll be pausing for 1 to 5 seconds or maybe even more in between each rep to allow your muscles to completely relax. The key is that you focus on maximum acceleration for each and every rep and treat each rep like its own separate lift. This helps what's known as starting strength, or the ability to generate speed and power from a dead stop. So whatever exercise you select, make sure you have a rack or something where you can place the weight so you can relax your muscles after each rep. For this workout, you want high rest time, so about 2 to 4 minutes, but I personally stick to more like 3 to 5 minutes of rest. Now to workout 2, and for workout 2, you can either do the maximum acceleration method again, but use different exercises, or use the explosive repeat method. The explosive repeat method focuses on your ability to repeatedly generate power. Most sports aren't concerned about how much power you can generate from a single repetition, but rather explosive bursts. If you're a recreational lifter, this may not make as much sense for you, so doing the maximum acceleration method again may make more sense. For the explosive repeat method, you want to do 1 to 3 exercises per workout and do 6 to 10 sets per exercise. In between exercises, you want to do 6 to 8 minutes of active rest, so any sort of low intensity cardio method of choice. For each rep, you'll be working for a particular amount of time and then resting for a particular amount of time. The best way to do this, in my opinion, is to change the work to rest ratio each week, with each subsequent week having more work and less rest. Here's a sample progression. For week 1, you do 12 to 15 seconds of work with 30 seconds of rest. For week 2, you'll be doing 15 to 20 seconds of work with 20 seconds of rest. Week 3, you'll be doing 20 to 30 seconds of work with 15 seconds of rest. And then week 4, you'll be doing 30 to 40 seconds of work with 10 seconds of rest. For the exercises, you want to be doing plyometrics or sport-specific work if possible. Examples are explosive push-ups, med ball rebounding, or med ball slams. If you use a ball, make sure you're continuously working by catching the ball and then doing the next rep immediately. For lower body, do exercises like squat jumps or broad jumps if possible. Now to workout 3, and this workout will consist of lighter work with moderate volume. You can do aerobic work on this day, or a lighter workout like a hypertrophy workout or an accessory day workout. Power workouts are only done 2 to 3 times per week because they're very CNS intensive. So don't fall into the trap of thinking less is more. I went with 2 workouts here because the methods I selected are quite taxing. When performing all these exercises, make sure you do every exercise with maximal intent. Going halfway or putting in half the effort for speed and power work will lead to poor results. You must always accelerate the weight or your own body weight as fast as possible. Now to block B, and here I'd recommend doing contrast training. Contrast training has to be one of my favorite ways to improve power. Contrast training is where you pair a heavy strength exercise with an explosive equivalent. For example, pairing a heavy squat with a box jump. It works by utilization of a concept called post-activation potentiation. The heavy lift essentially activates the nervous system and allows for greater activation in the following explosive exercise. For this block, I will give you a super basic contrast training format. There are a bunch of different ways to do contrast training, so don't think that this is the only way that you can do it. For this, you can either do a 2-day or 3-day split. If you do a 2-day split, I'd put a lighter day in between the 2 workouts. For the contrast training workouts, you want to do 2 to 3 series per workout. For the 2-day split, I recommend doing a push, pull, and leg exercise or an upper lower exercise. And for the 3-day split, I would divide it into push power, pull power, and leg power. For leg power equivalents, think of vertical jumps for squat exercises, horizontal power like broad jumps for hinge exercises, and then single leg work for lunge exercises. For legs, if you would like to, you could even include a 10 to 15 second sprint. For upper body power equivalents, think of med ball stuff. Med ball throw variations will be for push power, and just match the angle of this throw with the strength exercise, and use med ball slams or overhead throws for the pull power equivalent. For these workouts, you want to be doing 8 to 12 sets per workout with 1 minute of rest in between the strength exercise and the explosive equivalent, and rest about 3 to 5 minutes per set. For all these workouts, make sure that there's at least one rest day in between them. And after you complete the entire power block, I would recommend taking a 1 week deload to allow your body to recover. And that's a super simple 8-week power block format that you can use. I just dropped a ton of value, so please like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed. And I recently made a video going over my favorite strength training exercises for athletes, which you should check out.